Hey guys, I have a really bad habit of making lists of things I actually want to experience, movies I want to watch, books I want to read, and games I want to play. This habit is really bad on YouTube, and that's kind of how I felt when I first heard about Kero Quest 64. I originally saw a interview with the developers, and after watching the interview and playing the demo, I just had to talk about it. This game looks so much fun. It's not out yet, but I need to tell you guys about it. One of the coolest things about Kero Quest 64 is the fact that it just feels so authentic while somehow not feeling dated when it comes to the controls or the camera. And that is for good reason, as the people who are working on this game seem almost uniquely suited to make something that feels both old and new at the same time. The driving force behind Kero Quest 64 seems to be Melon Speedruns, known for modding Zelda and having professional experience in the games industry, and Brodude, known as a prolific modder of Mario 64. And to be honest, I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to the modding scene, but even a simple Google search was able to show me that these guys were made to make a game look like this and have the experience to back it up. And that unique experience, combined with a talented musician and 3D modeler, is made for a super fun game that I can't wait to get more of whenever it releases. Right off the bat, this game controls so well. I've always wanted to get into Mario 64, but I've never been able to mesh with the controls, mostly with the camera. Kero Quest 64 gets around that by having options. You can choose to use the more standard free camera as well as having fixed camera options. It's really the best of both worlds in my opinion, and does a lot right off the bat to make this game feel like a comfortable modern game that has a beautiful coat of retro paint. Beyond the camera, controlling Kero is a breeze and super easy to pick up. In the beginning of the demo, you get to use a course to get used to the controls, but it isn't really needed in my opinion. He does things that you mostly already know. Kero can chain his jumps, ground pound, and crouch jump. It's all pretty easy to get the hang of, especially if you've played newer Mario 3D platformers, but he isn't just a Mario clone. He has some of his own moves as well. In addition to those classic moves, Kero can use his tongue to latch onto rails and pull enemies towards him. It took a little getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, I could see that ability making for some really interesting courses in the future. You can also wall jump or choose to latch onto walls briefly while you plan your next move, much like a real frog. This wasn't super useful in the demo, but I could see this being used extensively in a course where there are a lot of moving platforms and you have to hold on for a second before moving on to the next area. When it comes to enemies, Kero is able to easily get rid of them with a spin attack that you can use mid-air to slightly adjust where you're heading. I wasn't the greatest at it, but it seemed more of an issue with me than the game, so I won't knock them for that. Speaking of those enemies though, you mostly see small crabs throughout the demo that aren't a hazard in any way. They can sort of blend into the background a little bit, causing them to be able to sneak up on you, but they're never a true issue. You will also encounter these airplane bird things, and they give me a lot more trouble since they can easily send you flying off a platform if you aren't careful. All in all, they were a lot of fun, not a lot of variety, but it is a demo after all. I was never really on the verge of dying either, but that could probably have to do with the devs wanting to make sure that they are able to make it to the end of the slice of game they've decided to put in the demo for us. And speaking of the actual game world, it is beautiful, to put it mildly. I mean, just look at what's on the screen right now, guys. The colors are vibrant and the world is just a joy to play around in. On top of that, the actual courses in the game were a lot of fun to move around in, with a good mix of platforming challenges to top it off. Beyond the actual game world, the music and sound design was also good as well in my opinion. I'm not the most technically inclined, but I enjoyed what I heard and it never took me out of it, which I think says a lot, especially in an indie game. All of this came together to form a demo that I played from start to finish in about an hour. There isn't much else I can say without sounding like I'm gushing over this short demo, so I'll leave the positive praise there for now. It's clear that a lot of love was put into this and I had an overall great time with it. The game is great and I'm excited for it to come out. However, like everything, this game isn't perfect, at least the demo isn't. I do have a few small issues with what was shown so far, and I want to just get that out there. Hopefully these will change in the future or be tweaked slightly. First of all, there is very little story to speak of so far. The world is vibrant and colorful, and I can easily imagine something that would be the perfect setting for a fun adventure, but it isn't quite there yet. When doing research for this game and talking to the few NPCs, it was clear that there is a story, but not yet enough to really make you feel invested in a meaningful way, and I didn't really see that story in the game that I played. You are truly only playing this game to see how it feels, which isn't an issue, but I do hope they add more in the future. And speaking about how it feels, while most of this game feels perfect in my opinion, there were a few things I wish had a little bit more weight to them. I've already gone over how well Kero controls, but it does make the instances that aren't perfect stand out a little more in my opinion. For me, that mostly came down to the spin attack. While super effective, it did feel a little floaty and not really impactful in any way. Like, it didn't have much weight behind it. I don't think this had to be something super heavy, but it would be nice if it felt like there was a little bit of an impact, be it with the enemy response or Kero as you perform the attack, or even a sound effect I think could do the trick there. I think a little could go a long way when it comes to this because it's almost perfect. Luckily, when it comes to all these criticisms, you can mostly chalk them up to the fact that the game isn't finished yet and there is much more for us to see. This isn't much of an issue that the story is pretty lax because there is time to flesh it out as the world of the game is also fleshed out. As for the gameplay criticism, it seems like that won't be an issue either. It doesn't seem like I was the only one who mentioned this, so hopefully the devs will see that and work on it. The game's still being worked on, and it looks like the devs are pretty active on their Steam and Kickstarter pages. Anything can happen, obviously, but I think they'll most likely see what people have to say and tweak things accordingly. So with all that being said, I think you should totally check out the Kero Quest 64 demo. If you like things like Mario 64, Banjo-Kazooie, or more modern games like A Hat in Time, I think this would be worth at least taking a look. I mean, it's free, so why not? It has what looks to be shaping up to be a vibrant world with cool characters that I want to know more about, and I hope you all will enjoy as well. And while we don't have a concrete release schedule yet, the developers have tentatively said that they are aiming for 2026, and they do have a publisher, so that would make you think that they are following some sort of timeline, at least loosely. It seems like most of the core gameplay aspects are there, so hopefully this runs smoothly and we get the game soon. I don't want to recommend the game since it doesn't exist yet, but from what I've seen, I think everyone who has a soft spot for 90s platformers should give this one a shot and maybe keep an eye out for the full release in the next year or so. I know I will. But I want to know what you guys think. Does this look interesting to you, and would you buy the full game? Would you even remember to buy something like this in a year? I have a soft spot for retro platformers, so I will try to keep an eye out on this one, but I really want to hear what you all have to say down in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video very soon.